This is the pyrolysis of matrimid, starting at 250 degrees Celsius. So right now there's some residual water, nitrogen, and oxygen, indicated by the peaks at 18, 28, and 32. As we start increasing the temperature above 350 degrees Celsius, we start seeing some CO2 coming off of the matrimid. As we get close to the decomposition temperature around 450 degrees Celsius, we start seeing many gases coming off, specifically methane and water and some carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide. These peaks start growing quite dramatically right now. We also see some other peaks that form in this range over here, but I'm not sure whether they are physically significant. So this is just growing and growing, but we've now reached the 550 degrees soak time. So now it is soaking at 550 degrees. We see some hydrogen that has formed. There's methane, water, CO2, CO2, and oxygen, I think, at 32, and possibly a little bit of hydrogen cyanide at 27. Actually, it probably hasn't formed yet, so there's very little, if any. So the reaction is continuing, just soaking, and so the peaks are starting to decrease slightly over time. Water tends to become more prevalent later in this reaction, interestingly. So everything is just settling down during the soak time. After 2 hours, most of the reaction has taken place. But now the temperature is starting to rise again, and once again we're seeing a huge increase in the methane, the CO2, and now we're actually starting to see a very clear amount of hydrogen cyanide gas forming, and this is at about 700 degrees Celsius. We also see a large amount of hydrogen starting to form a little bit over 700 degrees, approaching 800 degrees. So as we hit over 800 degrees, similar to the 6 FDA BPDA dam, we're seeing similar ratios of CO and methane, and we're seeing actually more hydrogen gas than helium right now, which is interesting, which means a massive amount of hydrogen is coming off. There is still a decent bit of water coming off, but the methane peak has definitely reduced significantly. There's still a decent amount of hydrogen cyanide gas coming off too. So this, we have reached the 1000 degree soak time, and so now all the peaks are decreasing quite a bit, and right now the peaks will just continue to decrease until the reaction approaches essentially its end, and the composition of the gases coming off will very soon reach the same composition as they started off with, which is the background composition. So overall, the reaction for matrimid is very similar to 6-FDA in terms of what's coming off. There's appreciably more methane. Obviously no fluorinated compounds form, but there's definitely more methane, but we see the same key figures appearing here. So namely lots of hydrogen, nitrogen, CO2, CO, hydrogen cyanide, methane gas, all of those.